Nick, how are you?
Good, Doug. How are you?
I suppose in this lunatic season, hanging 87 on them in the first half shouldn't be a surprise, but did it catch you off guard?
Well, yeah, of course. I think it's, you're missing, I don't know what we're missing, 60, at least 60 with Fred, Kyle, and Pascal out, probably. Something around there, right?
Yeah.
Kind of lost track of who else was out. But anyway, yeah, I mean, but they, geez, we did a really assertive job, I thought, of taking it to the rim early, Doug. We really, I think we started 11 for 11, and most of those were just real hard drives, and that kind of set up some of the other stuff. But yeah, the guys, yeah, one of those nights, right?
Yeah, and, Gary, we know Gary's a scorer. We've seen it in the time he's been here, but tonight he got in one of those zones. You just encourage him to keep firing when he gets that hot, right?
Yeah, he doesn't need a whole lot of encouraging, Doug, which is you can probably tell. So, yeah, he was certainly feeling. Isn't that funny too, right? Because just in the last game, a lot of those same shots were all going in and out, and tonight there were no doubters. They were right in the heart and right in there. So, good bounce back.
Great, thanks very much, Nick. Safe trip to New York.
Thanks, Doug.
We'll go to Josh.
Hey, Nick. I'll ask you about the new guys. You were limited in terms of what you could say about Kem before the game, but the signing is official now. How do you think he'll fit, and how do you feel about adding him to the team?
Well, I like Kem, obviously, and we've seen him play some good basketball against us in the playoffs in years past. I think he's a guy that could become a quality backup big man in this league. Got some length and got some athleticism and some shot blocking and some rebounding. I'm excited to have him, and hope we can help him develop.
Do you expect to have him in New York tomorrow?
Yep.
And what did you think of new Freddie?
Well, he was interesting, Josh. I think that two things really stood out, maybe three, but one was he's really good screener. Man, he was crushing people on screens over and over again, which was nice to see. And he's got really strong hands. Anytime the ball would get near him, he had some big hands and some strong hands. He'd gobble it up pretty quick. And I'd say the last thing was I thought he made some really good defensive rotations, both inside and on the perimeter. He just kind of kept playing hard.
Cool. Thanks, Nick. Safe travels. See you tomorrow.
Thanks, Josh. Yep.
We'll go to William Liu.
Hey, Coach. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
I would say probably not that many nervous moments in the second half for you guys, obviously coming with a huge lead, but the Cavs did rattle off like an 18-2 run, and it seemed like Malachi Flynn made a number of plays at the end of that third quarter and also at the start of the fourth quarter that kept you in it. How did you sort of assess that stretch from Malachi?
Yeah, he was good. They started blitzing or really putting a lot of pressure on all the ball screens, and he made a couple good rejects, right? It's where he'd fake like he was going off the screen and pull it back and head the other direction and got himself right to the rim a couple times. So that was, good reads by him. And yeah, he had a good game, just all the things we've been talking about, William, just a little more aggressive, a little more into the paint, a little more at the rim. I thought he made really good decisions most of the night.
And I wanted to ask you about his 11 assists as well. I think that is a career high for him. How have you sort of seen his growth maybe in that area of the game? Because it seems like mostly he's trying to create for himself at the moment.
Well, I think that's what he was doing, right? And we've asked him to again, stop floating on the perimeter so much and take it to the basket. And then most of those were caused because of his aggressiveness downhill, right? They start pulling in on the weak side and he's just making the play out, which is what he's supposed to do. Or if there's nobody there, he goes ahead and finishes it. So his amount of paint touches and aggressiveness downhill enabled him to get those assists.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Probably didn't hurt that Gary made a lot of shots tonight too. Like he probably benefited from a few of those. I'm not sure, but I think so.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Coach.
We'll go to Michael.
Hey, Nick. Earlier this season when you had a bunch of guys out, you weren't disappointed, but it was a little disappointing how guys didn't really necessarily take advantage of the minutes and things like that for all kinds of reasons. But that seems to have turned here. You've got guys playing for all kinds of different opportunities here, and you're getting some really good performances, across the board. What's your take on that?
Well, we did tonight, Michael. I mean, that's what we're always talking about, right? Is can you do it a little bit more on a consistent level, right? I mean, I don't think any of these guys would be here if they weren't NBA caliber players, but inching up from the back of the roster to the middle of the roster or even further, you got to do it a little more consistently. So they had a great night tonight. They've had some struggling nights too. We're just trying to patch up, some of their mistakes and play to their strengths and things like that, so they can have, a little bit more solid nights is what we're really after.
Appreciate it. Have a good night, Nick. Safe
Thanks,
travels.
Michael. Thanks.
We'll go to Masahiro from Kyoto News, who I think is in the arena there.
Thank you. Hi, Coach. How do you evaluate tonight Utah's performance? He scored career high 14 points tonight.
Career high for him, huh?
Yeah.
Yep. He was really good tonight. I don't think I can really think of many mistakes. Again, he's a positive player in that fashion. He doesn't make mistakes. He got some opportunities just because of his continuous running and cutting. And again, we've asked him when he makes those drives at the rim and it's one-on-one that he's got to find a way to finish them, and he's starting to do that.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
One more for you, Coach. We'll wrap up with a Kiko.
Coach, congratulations on the win. Yeah, so this is the fifth game for Utah to play more than 10 minutes. Do you think he's getting more comfortable offensively?
Yeah, I think, Kiko, I didn't think about this till about 2 days ago. Is he had that, injury a while back, and took him a while to get back from. He just didn't kind of seem to have the same pop in his step there for a long time. And I just kind of noticed the other day in the last game or two that he was kind of back to himself, and that injury maybe was a bit more of a factor than we thought it was. So I think he's, his fitness is back to full fitness, because he played really solidly, leading into that injury. He had a little bit of a struggle moment, but now last few games he's been good, and obviously career high tonight. It's good to see because he's really, really good defensively, as you can see, and his hustle plays always are good. They rub off on others. So happy to see him progressing, and hopefully I can keep finding more minutes for him out there on the court.